Last class, we discussed about for statement, which is a control statement allowed in C for repeated execution. Today, we are going to see four different control statements coming under the category jump statements, and they are continue, break, go to, and return. So these are the various control statements in C. All the iterative and selective control statements are already discussed in the lectures L14, L15, and L20. And today we are going to discuss these three control statements coming under the jump category. Towards the end, you can see why is it called jump. And return is used to pass control back to the calling function from a called function. Suppose your main function makes a call to the scanf function, then return is used in the scanf statement to return the control back to the main function. We shall discuss about return statement later when we discuss about user-defined functions in C language. So these are the three statements that we are going to discuss today. First is continue statement, which is a jump statement. We can try to understand what it is using an example. Don't worry about what this example code is. We can try to understand when we try to execute it or simulate the execution of it. Given this part of the program, there are four variables actually: I, then decimal variables number and fact, and also n is a variable. N is not changed, and so I am not including that in the table. Here I am using this table to maintain the various values that these variables are going to get during the execution of this code. Now, suppose the control comes to this part of the code with the value of n as 2. From the last class, we know the semantics of the for statement. First, when it comes to the for, expression 1 will be evaluated, then I, which is now undefined, gets the value 0. So this is executed. Next is condition checking. This is the condition checked. The value of I is 0 less than value of n. Yes, it is true. So it gets in. First is a printf statement that will be executed and you get this message displayed. Then proceeds to the next, which is a scanf. Because this is an input statement, now the control stays here until the user gives a number. Now assume that the user is inputting -4 as the number. Now this statement will read -4 into the variable denom. So denom is getting -4. Then it proceeds to the next statement, which is if the condition is checked. Now denom, the value is -4, which is less than 0. So condition evaluates to true, and hence the control goes inside the if. And the only statement there is continue, which is what we are trying to understand. And the moment the continue statement is executed from within a loop, the control jumps back to the first statement of the loop. That's it. The moment the continue statement is executed within a loop, the control goes back to the first statement of the loop. In this particular case, you know that when the loop is repeated, the third expression is getting evaluated, which is to increment the value of I y1. So I is now 0, it is getting incremented to 1. Next is the condition checking again. The value of I is 1, 1 is less than the value of n, which is 2. It is true, again it's going inside. Next statement is this printf, the corresponding message is getting this displayed. /n is causing this next line, and then proceeds to the next, which is scanf statement. So the control stays here until the user inputs a number. Suppose now the user gives 4 as the input. Now dnum will get the value 4 and control proceeds to the if. And what is if? Dnum is now 4, which is not less than 0. So it proceeds to the next, which is a 4, and which in fact finds the factorial of dnum into dfact. That is what it is doing. You can verify it offline. So if you execute this 4, you will get the factorial of 4, which is 24 in dfact. Then it gets into the last statement, which is in the loop, which is printf. It prints it as factorial is equal to 24. And then, as usual, the control goes back to the loop. So naturally, the third expression will be executed. So it's increment. So the value of I becomes 2. Then it goes to the condition checking. Now 2 is not less than 2 because n is 2, I is 2. So condition evaluates to false and control comes out of the loop. So the take home from this example is that if you are using a continuous statement within a loop, then the control jumps to the first statement of the loop from where you are executing continue. Okay, there is no point in using continue outside a loop. You can use it inside a loop, and if there are nested loop like a while loop inside a for loop, and suppose you are using continue inside the while, then it will jump to the first statement of the while loop or the first statement of the loop where the continue is executed. With this, we can try to formalize the syntax and semantics of the continue statement. Abstractly, it looks like this. There is a continue within a loop, and the loop can be a while, a do while, or for. And execution of continue statement takes the control to the loop re-entry point. So we need to define what is the loop re-entry point for these three. That we will do in the next slide. It jumps back to the loop re-entry point. And typically, continue statement is conditionally executed. If you remember, in the previous case, it executed only if dnum is less than 0. If it is unconditional, then there is no point in having the code after continue, because always it will come to here and jump back. Execution of continue statement avoids the execution of the portion in the loop which follows the continue statement. So within the loop, whatever statements are there after continue, that will be skipped when the continue is executed. The control jumps back. Now we need to define what is loop re-entry point. So these are the three loop statements that we have in the C programming language: for, while, and do while. For the for statement, this is the loop re-entry point. So continue will take you back to this expression. In the case of while, it is here. It will take you back to the condition checking. In the case of do while, is again the condition checking. So from here, somewhere here, you are jumping into this condition checking. So that's it. I hope the semantics of continue is clear. With this, I am giving you a homework exercise which you have to practice in the lab, which is a program to find the factors of odd numbers from a given set of numbers. So you first check whether the number is even or not. If it is even, you continue to the next number. That is the logic. Now let me proceed to the next type of jump statement, which is break. So now we are going to see the use of break when it is coming within a loop. We already have seen the use of break in the switch statement in the lecture L15. Now we are going to see another use which is within a loop. We can try to understand with this example. Given this example, these are the variables n, I, and denom. All are undefined. Now suppose the execution comes here with the value of n as 100. You know that when you go to the for, expression 1 is getting executed first, so I becomes 0. Then the condition 0 is less than 100. Yes, it is true. So it gets inside. The message is getting printed and proceeds to the next statement. It is an input statement, so the control has to stay there until the user gives a number. Now suppose the user gives 12 as the number. Then it proceeds to the next. So it's a condition checking. What is it? Prime is assumed to be a function to check whether an unsigned integer is prime or not. Now 12 is not a prime number, so the condition fails. If the condition fails, it proceeds to the next. Nothing is there in the loop, so the control goes back. You know that it comes to the expression, third expression. So I is incrementing to 1. Then condition checking. What is it? The value of I, 1 is less than 100, which is true. Controller is going inside. Again, the message is getting printed. Proceeding to the scanf. Now suppose the user gives 13 as the input, which is a prime number. When it proceeds to the condition checking, the condition is evaluated to true because 13 is a prime number. So the control gets in. What is it doing? It prints that it's a prime number, 13 is prime, and now it is getting to the interesting statement for this example, which is break. The moment the break statement is executed, the control jumps to the statement which immediately follows the loop. So break is causing a break of execution of the loop. Control will be transferred out of the loop to the immediate statement which is following the for statement or whatever be the loop. I hope with this example you are getting exactly what is break. The moment you execute break, control will jump out of the loop. Now we can try to understand the semantics and syntax. So within a loop, you can have a break statement. Loop can be while, do while, or for. Execution of the break statement inside a loop statement takes the control to the statement which follows the loop statement. So this is the loop statement. The break will take you out to the next statement immediately after the loop. Typically, break statement is conditionally executed. If there is no condition, then always in the first time it comes and goes out. So this part of the code is then non-reachable. So conditionally executed, that is a meaningful case. With this, I am giving you a programming exercise using break statement. You find the first composite number from a given set of n numbers. Assume that n is very large. You can break the loop the moment you get a composite number. And proceeding to the last control statement that we are discussing in this lecture, which is goto. Again, jump category. And here I am directly giving you the semantics. So here is the semantics. Let us not worry about that. I will explain. Execution of goto. So it's like goto followed by a label. You can decide what this label is. Any label you can use. Then there must be a statement whose label is A. So there must be a statement whose label is A. And what happens is goto will take the control to the statement whose label is A. And the control jump defined by goto statement can be a backward jump like this. It is a backward jump. So go to A, then semicolon. A colon is this label. So it just goes back. Or it could be a forward jump like in this example. So it's a forward jump. And a goto statement can be used anywhere in a function. Okay? And definitely here there must be a way to skip this goto sometime. Otherwise always this will happen and this will be a loop. Okay? You can use conditional execution of goto to avoid that. Anyway, it's up to you whether you want to use goto or not. Now I am giving you homework exercise problems from goto statement. Use of goto statement is considered to be not advisable in a C program. Taken this as granted. So this is a valid statement. You say why. You search for the answer and find why is it so. So you can always manage it with other conditional statements. You don't have to use goto, but goto is there. Then why is it not advised, or where is it causing a problem? Maybe you search in the internet and find. Second exercise is give an example situation, maybe a programming situation, which demands the use of a goto statement, which demands a goto statement. Okay? Then the question is, okay, you found a situation where you need a goto statement. Then can you manage the situation without using a goto statement? I said it is possible. Then how will you manage it? Justify your answer. So in this lecture, we have seen 3 jump statements in C language, which are continue, break, and goto. One more jump statement is there, which is return, which we will discuss when we discuss about user-defined functions in C language. Thank you.